Hey folks, alright, so I'm gonna start making a little rack to store dishes on to dry. It's a design I've thought of for a while, and I was recently reading the next book on our required reading list, which is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace, something like that. I'll put it down in the link, whatever, below. Anyways, it reminded me about the power of imagery, the power that Anastasia talks about is, I don't know if it's unique to humans, but it's a very powerful force that humans have. And so I'm just been reimagining kind of what I want my design to look like over the last day or two. And we're going to put it together, and I'm going to show you what I do. But I'm also going to need a little bit more of a working space, so I'm going to throw another board down here to create more space to work on, and we're gonna make it together. All right, got my little bit of a table here. It's not going to be the most sturdy table in the world, but it'll be enough to sit at and get a craft project going. If you haven't seen this yet, that's my water thing I set up. I did a video on that, and I still gotta set up like a little water basin to wash dishes. That I don't even have a sponge right now. I've used sand when needed, which is an interesting one. It actually works really good. So we're gonna go cut some bamboo now, because we're gonna use bamboo for this. So let's see what we got over here. Frogs. We've got frogs, folks. Alright. This looks like a good one right here. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this with a saw because machete will kind of slice it up too much. Got one. I'm gonna get a couple more and we'll go back to the workshop. Okay, so now I have some of the bamboo here. I'm gonna have to take these little branches off. I'm not gonna be able to do it holding a camera, so I'm gonna do this. All right, so got my poles. I'm gonna start breaking them up into some pieces here to start working with. I had a moment here, I'm just like, I don't even know what to do, like feeling overwhelmed, and I just took a moment to just sit and I reflected back on the image I had in my mind of what I wanted to create, and I just then started looking at, well, what's the piece that aligns with one of those pieces that I want to use, and I saw this one. So then I made my first cut, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two, it's broken into two parts basically, a bottom part and an upper part, and the bottom one basically looks a lot like a xylophone, and that has plates that sit in it, and then the top part helps kind of structure that a little further. So we have two of these that go this way a little bit longer, and then a bunch of ones that go like this, and it'll help the plates sit in it. So I'm gonna try that out, and I even had a thought, well, oh, this is another better design, so I'm just gonna make this one though and get better at working with bamboo and see what happens. All right. Okay. All right. So cut these pieces. These are the baseline pieces. We're gonna just do one set at a time. When I was thinking about making it, you also got to think about not just what your design looks like, but how you're gonna make it, and then that might affect what your design is, so that you can actually make it. And so we're gonna start out with these, and I just wanted to comment that, like touching these pieces of bamboo, it's really lovely. It's such like a refined material. It's soft, it's smooth, it's very lightweight, has like a pleasing, interesting kind of a sound, but it's strong at the same time. So this is just kind of filled with how much possibility of what you could do with this stuff. So hopefully this will just be just starting to get my hands wet with it. So this is the base, did like 2 rails, and then we're gonna start building out the top part here. And I'll show you as I'm going along with that, all right? Hey, okay, I just wanted to show you this also so you have an idea where I'm going with this. Here's a plate, and this is, so they're gonna sit like this. And so I wanted to just show you that, you know, you can get like something that you'd be using to kind of get an idea of how you'd want it to kind of be framed out. And I also decided that I was going to make these instead of parallel, a little bit of an angle to kind of accommodate a little bit more variety of sizes with the plates. Like bigger ones like this could easily sit over here, whereas if I had some smaller plates, I mean, I have like 2 plates, so that's where I was like, do I actually need this? But I've been wanting to make this, and it could be a fun thing to sell at like a farmer's market also, is what I'm kind of thinking of to do. And then, so anyways, so this, and then it'll still even fit probably over here, but, so that's that. Hey, all right, so we got a whole bunch of these little pieces here that I cut up, and they are going to go over onto this in a row, and I'm going to use, this is some fishing line, and I'm going to tie it, come back over here, and I'm going to tie it each end here, wrap it on there, and just do like a row of it, right? And then I'm going to make a whole nother one of these, and then it'll be set up on top, up a level. So that's this step. I was listening to The Science of Getting Rich, and it, like I said, it's by Wallace D. Wattles. So that's, again, our next book on our brightly required reading list. And so let me get some of this done. I'll show you how that comes along. Just a little side note here, I had some food. It's important to just kind of like, while you're in the middle of like a long project like this, when going through unexplored territory for myself, for example, I've been trying to just stay hydrated and nourished. So I've had another drink that I made. It was some raw chocolate powder, some raw honey, some hemp oil, and some Sun Warrior protein in there, and some water. And this batch I'm throwing a little bit of some of the peppermint essential oil. I was gonna throw some of the wild orange in there too, but it disappeared on me. It's somewhere. So I'm gonna go find that and then throw some in. But what you do, just put that all together, and you know, measurement wise, just add a little bit of each one until it tastes good. So put the lid on, shake it up, and get back to work. Okay, found the wild orange. Here they are. Peppermint, wild orange. This stuff smells amazing. And both of these go really good with chocolate. This is not an over-the-top chocolate drink, but just a little bit. So I can get with a few drops of that. The peppermint, it's 1 or 2 drops. The wild orange just kind of like adds in a bit of kind of like I wouldn't even say fruitiness. It's a really pure orange flavor. These ones from doTERRA, you can eat them. Other ones, don't bother eating them. You just can't eat those other ones from other companies because they're not pure. And even if they say they are, they're not. So, but the peppermint, what I found with the peppermint, you can use spearmint also, but the peppermint especially, since it's so strong, really brings out the flavor in a lot of things. And I'm hot. It's hot out here right now, so it's gonna help cool me down. If I get extra hot, I can take a couple drops, mix it with a little bit of hemp oil here, and then rub it on my body a little bit, and it'll cool you down right away. And also, you can just go jump in the creek over there. So there's that. Okay, so I got a couple of them done. You can see how this is kind of shaping out. This one I'm gonna be putting on next, and this is my my string here. I'm just wrapping it on each side and just going down the line, and this will kind of sit in here. I probably should be putting these a little bit closer together. It may or may not matter. We'll see. They do. I can kind of push these, slide them a little together. They're holding pretty good. They're not really. I thought I was a little worried about them sliding around a lot, but they're holding together pretty good. This does have some like lateral stabilization issues that because this is going to actually be like a hanging thing, so I think that'll situate itself after it's hanging just from gravity. But then so basically I'm going to make one of these, and then I'm going to make a second one that's going to be one tier up. It's going to be a little bit wider, and then the plates sit in there like that, right, with the second one holding it. So I'm going to just keep going along, and I'll check in a little bit. Hey, okay, so we're at day 2. That, went to sleep, woke up, did all this stuff yesterday, and I just finished the top section here. So you can see we have 2 sections. We've got a smaller one and a larger one, and this will be a little tricky to do with one hand, but I think I'm going to be able to do it. So I'm going to show you how it looks. Okay, now use your foot. Okay, stay. Okay, here we go. So there you go. You can see how this works now. And so now my next step is I'm going to take some of the string and connect each of the corners so this can be a hanging device. And I'm going to take this little piece of bamboo that's just laying there to the side next to my earbuds. That is going to help me measure out the distance, how far I want each corner to be, so it's consistent. And so I'm going to do that, and then I'll check in after that. All right. Okay, so I had an adjustment how I did the string. I ended up doing one of them, and it was difficult to get the other ones going, so I just took it off kind of, and I wrapped it around my legs so I could find the length of it, and then I just kind of did 4 more of them. So I got 4, and I'm going to do that, attach them to the corners. Hey, okay, so I'm going to just set the camera down there for a second because I'm going to show you how I've now attached 3 of these things, and I need 2 hands to show you this, so we'll see how this works. I haven't set it up yet, but what I did is I took one of these loops here, and then I basically folded it like this once. Oops. So I have basically doubled it once, and I doubled it again. So it's got basically 4 strands now in each one, right? And then, like I said, haven't set this up yet. We'll see if this works. But loop it around one of the ends here, right? And then I'm twisting it. So I'm gonna, because basically I found that, if I was like to sell one of these to somebody, these things might still come off easily and stuff like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna twist it, and I'm doing 20 twists. I mean, if you were making something like this, you would obviously figure out what works for your thing. But this is just an idea of something you can do with a string. And people don't really usually use this. It's a really powerful way to use string, but so actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see it's like a thing now, right? You can see this one over here. It's also on there, and when it twists, it kind of like, you can kind of like pull it back a little bit to open up the loop and kind of loop it on there. But then once you let go, the twist will kind of come back, right? So I'm going to do another 10 now. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see, just getting this loop around these corners here. Ooh. Put this all the right way. So, okay. Let's see. Cool. Oop. So there it is. Let's see how this kind of goes. All right, I'm gonna set this up so we can see it better, right? All right, so I'm just gonna show you real quickly also, attaching this to this pole here. The angle of that camera, you're not gonna be able to see it very easily, but has some slope up there. You can see it's gonna slide a little bit. So this is where your kind of rolling hitch type of a knot or whatever comes in place. What it basically is you just have to wrap the rope over itself a few times. So that was like, for example, roll it once that way, roll it once on this side, and then you roll it at least once, maybe twice on the other side. And that should be enough for it to kind of, see, like I can't even pull it. Pull it a little bit so I can even these out. That should be enough for it to keep it from rolling around. So just so you know, that's what's happening up there if you put it on something that's angled. All right, so here it is. It just started raining and set it up. And one of the things I knew before that I wanted to do is have I wanted these to be out a little bit more. This gives it a little bit more stability this way. And you can see it is pretty stable. Pretty strong on top. And this is also like a concept design of using, see, why would I bother showing you this, and why would I even, a couple things. One, it was an exercise in working with your imagination. Come up with an idea and then manifest it, right? Also, we get to practice some knot skills and use materials. Like I happen to have these materials. You might have other materials around, so you could use whatever you have. But I have this, lots of, I mean, look at that, like bamboo growing out of the ground. Out of the ground, folks. So, and I use this nylon here, the fish line, because this is clear. It's not like a low visual impact. I could use a strand, and I could use these like straight across if I needed more strength. But I use this because it would dry out. Like what I like about this as a design is that this whole thing is like a pretty clean. Like there's a very small amount of surface area that's touching your plates at any given time, which means that you're not going to get mildew building up on stuff. So that's why I made this design, right? And then, so I got to adjust this knot here. Let me fix this knot real quick. So now the question of the day, is it going to work? So we got a couple, these are some heavy ass plates here. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Let's find out. One plate. Woo. Okay. Leaning a little bit here. Two plate. That one's a little bit more upright. Oop. Okay. What's happening here? Better one to stick it than that one. Which is the small side, okay. Small side. Oh, there it is. It works. Let's see what else I could throw on there. This is the next part, which gave me hesitation before about whether this is going to be a great design or not, because I wanted to get some of these little bowls off of my countertop there. Look at that! All right, great. When I leave it, I would want to have the bowl kind of hanging so that water would drip out of it. So the open space should be facing down. That's why I left that one a little bit wider. Now I'm gotta figure out how to get cups attached to this or a separate design. So that'll be one of my next projects, along with getting a sink, kind of some sort of a sink situation set up. The other thing I wanted to point out, now you probably don't have as open as an environment as I do. These will drip on the ground. I'm gonna adjust this weed whacker flooring stuff happening over here to be a little bit more pleasant. But what I wanted to tell you is that this design, my original, I actually created this design probably like 5 years ago. Not exactly like this, but this general kind of like lattice kind of like thing. And what I foresaw that I originally wanted was a thing where I didn't have to constantly be taking dishes and wiping them down and putting them away, like way too much work for me. I'm sorry. So, and for anybody, it's just unnecessary. We're like, I mean, if you have like a back stock of plates now and then you pull out and then you put them back after they're dry, fine. But you have like a working amount that you're usually using, and this would be for that ideally, right? And your stuff, like you got a household, you got what, like a couple of people there, two to five people probably. One person even easier, but you could have two of these, right, or a little bit longer. But the reason I wanted this design is you would hang this over something that would be basically like your sink or a drip board or something like that, or a countertop that would flow into a sink. And then you don't have to worry about all kinds of stuff, you know? So anyways, that's that. See you later, folks. Thanks for joining me on this. I'm super stoked about this, and again, grateful I got to share it with you. See you later.